Project TellTales. These are shocking stories of how people survived the impossible. This young man here in 1987 sustained a gunshot to his head that blew off a massive portion of his brain. You'll love to find out how it happened. Watch to the end of this video. Lindy Hartlin, a woman from Ledbury, England, survived falling 8,500 feet straight to the ground in a skydiving accident. When she put her parachute cord, it failed to open. But when the reserve canopy opened, so did the main parachute, with both parachutes twisting above her in the wind. She hurtled through the air for 40 seconds at speeds of about 70 miles per hour before crashing to the ground. But amazingly, Lindy only sustained 2 fractured ribs, a punctured lung, a broken nose and a chipped tooth. She remembers the doctors looking at her in disbelief. Later on in 2008, 7 years after the accident, Lindy was able to master enough confidence to make another jump. In 2003, construction worker on Hunt fell onto an 18-inch auger drill bit, where Ron was walking on top of a ladder drilling something overhead. Moments later, the ladder started to wobble. Following safety procedures, he touched the drill on the floor when he realized he was falling as he plummeted toward the ground. He landed right on top of the drill that just happened to be laying in an upright position. The auger drill bit went straight through his skull. The doctor said that the drill penetrated his eye socket and pushed his brain to the side rather than through it. So he decided to unscrew the drill bit from his head and instead of surgically removing it. Ron's friends call him Miracle Man. In early 2014, a 56-year-old woman and her grandson were both run over by a car while walking down the street in Anápolis, Brazil. Security footage of the incident showed 2 cars slamming into each other up the street from where they were walking. One of the vehicles was sent barreling into a parked car, causing it to collide with the woman and child. The woman's head hit the concrete and knocked her out cold before the car ran over her legs and lower back. The unbelievable CCTV footage also shows the car's tires running completely over the child's head. A split second later, he jumps to his feet and rushes over to check his grandma, after being completely crushed by the car. The 5-year-old stood up as if nothing ever happened, as gruesome as the accident appeared to be. Both managed to walk away with only minor bruises. Young lady Alexis Gorgans is known as a hero in her hometown and around the world. In 2007, when she was only 7 years old, she jumped in front of a hail of bullets in order to save her mother from death. Alexis and her mom, Celestia, were kidnapped by her ex-boyfriend who forced them into a car and began driving to a secluded area. When Celestia tried to get out for help, he cocked his gun. Alexis screamed, "Don't hurt my mom," as she jumps in front of her mother to try to shoot her from gunfire. The gunman, Calvin Tilly, started shooting anyway, firing about 12 shots at the girl and her mother, trying to kill both of them at the same time. Celestia was shot in the head and arm, while Alexis was shot in the eye, left temple, chin, cheek, chest and arm. Miraculously, both of the mother and the daughter survived the attempted murder. Calvin Tilly is currently serving 60 years in prison. South African soccer player Royal Mahamusa survived an accident that probably should have taken his life. Mahamusa, who plays for Johannesburg's Orlando Pirates, was out driving when his car slipped on a wet patch of road, which caused him to lose control of his vehicle as he crashed into a guardrail on the side of the road. The guardrail pierced the rail of his car and penetrated through the entire vehicle, exiting through the windscreen. Striking photos taken of the screen shows his white BMW 3 Series completely impaled. Of course, it's a miracle that he walked away from the accident with only minor injuries. So going back to the first story, many people believe that Harvey Raphael had a guardian angel watching over him. Back in 1987, Ahad sustained a gunshot to the head that blew off massive portion of his brain. When he was 14, Ahad was working at a local convenience store in his hometown of Dalton, Ohio. His employer accidentally dropped a gun and shot the top of Ahad's skull, blowing off most of his right hemisphere. He started convulsing on the floor from blood loss and shock. Paramedics rushed him to a nearby hospital, and after a 5-hour operation, he awoke and even tried to speak. His own mother described his head looking like a deflated basketball. Years later, a plastic surgeon constructed a hard silicone implant and filled the cavity of his cranium. The surgeon pulled the skin over to give him a somewhat normal-looking head. The now 42-year-old man with only half a brain went on to graduate with honors from his medical university. Project TellTales, that's all that for the day. I hid a secret emoji that looks like this. When you find it, screenshot it and send it to my Instagram at Project TellTales, and I'll send you a secret motivational message. See you next time on Project TellTales.